From the smoky pubs of post-war London to the gritty streets of Manchester, England has a rich and ruthless criminal history. These are the true stories of 10 notorious British gangsters, men who built criminal empires, defied law enforcement, and became legends of the underground. Number story: the Kray Twins, London's infamous gangster brothers. Ronnie and Reggie Kray were the most feared gangsters in London during the 1950s and 60s. They ran The Firm, a brutal criminal organization involved in extortion, arson, robbery, and murder. Despite their savage crimes, the twins maintained a celebrity-like status, mingling with actors, musicians, and politicians. In 1969, both were sentenced to life imprisonment. They remain symbols of East End gangster lore. Number story: Charlie Richardson, the torture boss of South London. Charlie Richardson led the Richardson Gang, rivals to the Krays. His crew was known for extreme violence, including electric shock torture and beatings with hammers. Based in South London, the gang controlled rackets in fraud, extortion, and stolen goods. Charlie was arrested in 1966 and sentenced to 25 years in prison, marking the end of one of London's bloodiest gang wars. 3 story: John Goldfinger Palmer, the billion-pound scammer. Known as Goldfinger, John Palmer was involved in the aftermath of the infamous 1983 Brinksmat robbery, where £26 million in gold bullion was stolen. He laundered much of the gold through international scams and even operated fraudulent timeshare schemes in Tenerife. Despite multiple investigations, Palmer often escaped conviction until he was mysteriously murdered in 2015 outside his Essex home. 4 story: Curtis "Cocky" Warren, Britain's global drug lord. Born in Liverpool, Curtis Warren became one of the most successful drug traffickers in British history. In the 1990s, he built a global empire, moving cocaine from South America to Europe. At one point, his wealth rivaled that of British celebrities. In 2009, he was jailed for conspiracy to smuggle cannabis. Even behind bars, Warren's influence in the drug world remained strong. 5 story: Freddie Foreman, the godfather of British crime. A longtime associate of the Kray Twins, Freddie Foreman was involved in armed robbery, murder, and disposing of bodies for the firm. He was allegedly responsible for killing Jack the Hat McVitie and helping dump the bodies of the Richardson gang's rivals in the English Channel. Now in his 90s, Foreman reflects on his life of crime in documentaries and interviews, claiming regret but never weakness. 6 story: Paul Massey, Mr. Big of Salford. Paul Massey rose from the streets of Salford to become a powerful figure in Manchester's criminal underworld. Known for violence and influence over local politics, he was suspected of involvement in drug trafficking and protection rackets. In 2015, Massey was shot dead outside his home in a gangland execution. His murder intensified tensions between rival gangs in Greater Manchester. 7 story: Roy Pretty Boy Shaw, gangster and bare-knuckle fighter. Roy Shaw was a notorious London criminal and former boxer who gained fame through illegal bare-knuckle fights. In the 1970s, he fought Lenny McLean in a series of brutal matches that became legendary in underground circles. A former armed robber and prison inmate, Shaw later wrote books about his violent past and became a cult figure in British gangland history. 8 story: Lenny McLean, the Governor. Known as the Governor, Lenny McLean was a fearsome enforcer, bouncer, and bare-knuckle boxer in East London. Though not part of a formal gang, his influence in the criminal world was massive. He worked as muscle for nightclubs, debt collectors, and gangsters, and eventually became an actor, starring in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. McLean died in 1998, but his legend lives on. 9 story, The Addams Family. Disley's secret crime syndicate. The Addams family, led by Terry, Tommy, and Patsy Addams, quietly ran one of the UK's most sophisticated organized crime networks, the Clerkenwell Crime Syndicate. Known as the A-Team, they were involved in drug trafficking, extortion, and money laundering. Unlike flashier criminals, the Addams brothers maintained secrecy, making law enforcement's job incredibly difficult. Several members have since been convicted. 10 story, Kenneth Noye, the cop killer and gold thief. Kenneth Noye was a key figure in laundering the gold from the Brink's-Mat robbery. In 1985, he stabbed and killed a police officer during a surveillance operation, but was acquitted on self-defense. Years later, in 1996, Noye murdered a man in a road rage incident on the M25 and fled the country. He was eventually extradited from Spain, convicted, and sentenced to life in prison. Conclusion: these 10 figures shaped the dark side of England's modern history. From the blood-soaked gang wars of London to international drug empires, their stories are as fascinating as they are frightening. While many have been brought to justice, their legacies still echo in the streets where they once ruled. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more true crime stories from around the world.